Well, on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone, we're going to do something a little different. As you know, we already have Tuesday Wrestling with AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling, but we're also going to add NXT, which is the aftermath of what happened this past Saturday in NXT Takeover 30. So let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many promotions, wrestlers, championship wrestlings. I'm your host J Rod here, but before I start reviewing all three shows, I want to let you guys know what's been happening recently. As you know, what happened this past Saturday with Cody losing the title in a what some people are calling it a 5 minute squash match. There is a specific reason it's been revealed why it happened. It turns out that Cody Rhodes might be taking some time off. Apparently, he's going to be working in a sort of TV or movie project with his old buddy that we all know, Aerostar, Stephen Amell, which is cool. You know, I'm trying to find more information about that, what's been going on, but there hasn't been there is no secret that Eric Amell has been considering having Cody to be involved in his upcoming projects since Arrow ended their series. But I'll let you guys know that one's going to be a pin on it. That'll be a priority to ensure what's been happening, and I think that's pretty much what is happening. Oh yeah, one more thing. As you all know now, Keith Lee is now moved up to the roster through to Raw. Apparently now there's been some complaints by fans that Keith Lee has changed his wrestling gear and his theme song. Now I understand for all of you that you want things to remain the same, but the thing is this: with WWE, what they do is like they don't mostly try to associate how things were for them back in NXT. Just develop the character, like introduce them no matter what on Raw or SmackDown. That's always been their game. You know, they never mention things like the only thing they mention is what they have accomplished. Either they won a tournament or a championship, or they were close in winning a championship. That's one of the things they do, and I don't know why they do that. But right now, that's not what I want to do. So let's review the first one, AEW Dark. All right, so right now we're starting with AEW Dark. This one it had maybe around 13 match, a very stacked card. It went up to almost 2 hours, as you may or may not been aware. So the first match was a tag team, which of course we have jobbers as always in this one. We had Storm Thomas and Dimitri Jackson facing off. The best friends alongside Orange Cassidy. This was like a very interesting match. You've been following much of the stories with the best friends, as you know. They still had their issues with inner circle members Santana Ortiz, but this match was alright. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the best one, but the one match I'm looking forward for them is, of course, against Santana and Ortiz, and I'm assuming that will take place in All Out. But I can't wait to see that. So, in other words, best friends won this match. Next match, we had Jesse Sorensen versus Sean Spears. We all know how this plays out with that magic glove that Spears has on, thanks to Tully Blanchard. So basically, he was a bit more aggressive on this one. Even Sorensen did put up a couple of shots, but it's not enough to stop a guy like Sean Spears. So it's going to be interesting. But of course, Sean Spears win. But as always, he ended the match when he loaded the glove one last time and took another shot at Jesse Sorensen. Next match, we have Mel facing off against Red Velvet. This one I wasn't sold too much. A, because I haven't seen Mel that much with her. How do I say? With her appearances with AEW that much. I mean, I don't know what it is about her that that I feel like they haven't built her up more. But she did started with the whole Nightmare Collective. But anyway, she won the match. So just get it over with for all you guys. Next match we had is D3 versus Lance Archer. We all know who wins this one. Everybody dies. Lance Archer won that one. Next match, we have Kylan King versus Nyla Rose. Now, we cannot deny Nyla Rose, capabilities as a dominant, female in the AEW women's division. Of course, we know about her partnership with Vicky Guerrero. It's still unclear what is their business intention, but but in this match, they made their message loud and clear. They are giving the women of AEW a notice that they're here to take AEW at any means, calling themselves the Vicious Vixens, which is a pretty good name. I like that. They are vicious. Next match we have is tag team. We have Frank Stone and Baron Black versus the Gun Club. So you all know, we normally been seeing Billy and his son Austin at AEW Dark, but we never seen them involved in Dynamite. I hope down the line we can see them once the whole thing with thing is over with the whole quarantine and a pandemic. But yeah, the Gun Club took the victory on this one. Next match is Heather Monroe. If you guys are not familiarized with her, she's mostly been on the independent scenes. I only seen her once at the Crash, facing off against Super Bad Girl Penelope Ford. This one was a very good match. I have to say, Heather Monroe really did an impressive offensive move against Penelope. I'm surprised that they never consider signing her. I feel like they should. But it was a good match. I like this one between Heather Monroe and Penelope Ford. But fortunately, it was Penelope Ford that picked up the victory. Next match, we have these two sets of brothers named Metro Brothers facing off against Santana Ortiz. Now, they did put the Metro Buzz, kind of reminded me of Deuce and Domino, those guys. But yeah, but even though Santana Ortiz picked up the victory, apparently here comes the best friends to get their revenge against Santana Ortiz for what they did, destroying Trent's mom's van. But yeah. Next match we have is Ricky Stark and Shawn Dean. As you know, this is one of those matches where, Taz is proud to have a guy like Ricky Starks in his team, but of course he wins this match as always. And then the next one we have Marco Stunt versus Jack Swagger. But much of Marco has been relying on his speed, but of course he got squashed by Jake Hager. Even though he tried to destroy Marco post-match, but here comes the rest of Jurassic Express to help, but it's too late. But for me, I feel they need to put a match between Jake Hager and Luchasaurus. That's a match that we definitely can see. I want to see that match regardless. Now, the next match we have Frankie Kazarian versus Super Bad Kip Sabian. This was one of those best matches I've seen so far. Even though I wish we could seen it in Dynamite mostly, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. This is great to see Frankie stepping out to be showing his showcase more of his singles run. I don't know what was that all about with the whole tag team that he was in, like just watching, observing. But it was great to see this match. Kip Sabian seemed like he was about to have everything, but no. You cannot, stop the experience from a guy like Frankie Kazarian, so he picked up the victory on that. The next match is the Hybrid 2 versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. As you know, we've seen Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss undefeated the entire time in both AEW Dark and Dynamite. But frankly, this was one of those turning points where we see them lose one match. I don't know what this means, but I feel these two should get a hunt for the title. We don't know how long that could how long that would last. But I would love to see that. But they're mostly trying to give more time to build up some of these wrestlers. Some of these wrestlers we haven't seen since the pandemic started, like Hybrid 2 with one of those guys. But we'll just have to wait and see where they're going to go with it. So I think that's it for now. I say let's move on with Night 2 of Impact Wrestling Emergence. Now let's start with Impact Wrestling with Emergence Night 2. So as you know, we already passed Night 1, which was awesome to watch with the rematch between the Motor City Machine Guns and the North, and of course, new X Division champion. So let's get started with Night 2. First match of the evening was another open challenge. This time it was Eddie Edwards facing against Rob Van Dam. Now, my initial assumption after what happened the last time, as you know, Eddie Edwards was facing against Sami Callihan, and all of a sudden, RVD attacked him because if you recall weeks ago, Sammy got involved in the face of Katie Forbes. Katie accused him saying he was a stalker fan, even though he's not. But Sammy decided to get payback against Katie for assuming what she thought was a stalker fan. But frankly, this match was like a little bit different. I wasn't sure yet. As you know, Eddie Edwards has posted himself as a fighting champion throughout this entire time. But Eddie Edwards put up a one hell of a fight. But apparently, as soon as he won the match, Eric Young showed up again. But this time, Eric Young said that he will face Eddie Edwards on his time, not Eddie Edwards' time. He's always been the most maniacal person in the business. Next thing we have is well, I forgot was on my notes. Eric Young has already made the issue challenge for the Impact World title. He wants it next week, but he was not going to get in the face of Eddie Edwards. He's being smart enough to avoid him in every aspect. Now the next thing we go is back to the Wrestle House. Still some tensions. They did not continue with the story who stole the Diener's beer, but however, they're doing one of those Greek thingy outfits, that they were throwing. Of course, there was the thing with Swinger and Steve. That whole how Swinger is. He's a real idiot. And then we see this whole thing. What's going on with Rosemary, Lawrence D, Johnny E. Bravo, all that. So that's been going on the entire time. As you know, Taya has been drinking a lot. Apparently, ever since she lost the Knockouts division, she hasn't been herself of late. But of course, we know Alicia has been noticing what Rosemary has done, posting a spell on Lawrence D. But there was a funny segment with the Dieners where it's saying, I think I know why he calls himself Lawrence D. Remember the whole thing with Steve Urkel when he becomes Estefan? Family Matters. Yep. So they kind of put that as an analogy, which makes perfect sense. And then we had a blindfold match. Apparently, Swinger did one mistake. He was trying to get Lawrence D with powder in his eyes, but he got Steve instead. So Steve requested that they be in a blindfold match, but under the condition whoever loses, they must dress exactly like that person. So it was like a real crazy match. But referee was cousin Jake. It was so funny. Even though they were using the bullhorn, that little thing they use on the bikes, but it was funny. Crazy Steve won the match, so it was a real fun match. Next thing we see, we have Rhino. He wants to challenge Hernandez after what happened. He found out that Hernandez paid off Reno Scum to attack him, but they said they will be in a fight. I'm not sure if that's going to take place next week, but we'll just wait and see. Eddie Edwards still chases Eric Young. He's not going to wait till next week, wants it now, but Eric Young's like telling him his way, his time. Then we go to Rohit Raju. As you know, he has been the one star in Impact who has been at the bottom of the totem pole. Basically, he hasn't been. Somehow, he was able to trick Chris Bay and somehow win the X Division title. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next week since we know in night one he won it. Somehow he steals one from Chris Bay. We just got to wait and see what they're going to go with it. Next, we have his locker room talk with Madison Rayne. Here comes the Rascals right there. Then, of course, Austin Theory and Ace Austin, and of course, my men Fulton show up. But they were still getting in the face of each other, even though they don't like each other no matter what. Of course, they're trying to get Madison Rayne to show up at the treehouse, but she's not going to do it because we all know what happens to the treehouse. They smoke too much. So next thing we see is Sami Callihan sending a message to RVD saying that he will challenge him. He hasn't forgotten what happened, costing him a shot of the title. I don't know why Sami hasn't gone to attack RVD to get payback for not being 100% when he faced him. You know, that's one of those things that kind of gets me off on that. But we'll just wait and see what happens. Next thing we see is EC3, who's saying that he needs to destroy the TNA World Title. I'm still yet to hear what Moose has to say. Now, Moose has been going out saying that he is the real world champion, but now that championship that he has made prestigious, even though he's not the champion, EC3 is willing to destroy it. So he's been warned. So I'm still yet to see what Moose has to say about that. So we'll just see what's going to happen next. Next thing we have is Brian Myers versus Willie Mack. As you know, Brian Myers made his debut a couple weeks ago against Eddie Edwards in the Open Challenge for the Impact World Title, and he was unsuccessful. But a week ago, they were doing an interview with Willie Mack where they given him time to talk about his reaction towards Rich Swann retiring and all this and that. But Brian Myers still wants the attention, saying that he is the most professional wrestler in the world. So basically, he got in the face of Willie Mack, and they will set up this match. This match was brutal, but I did not expect the outcome, how it's going to end. Brian Myers picked up the victory. So the real question is, who else is Brian Myers going to disrespect, thinking that he's most professional? I hate to be in people's shoes, especially guys like Sammy or that stuff. Now, the next thing we have is Heath for Impact. So please, hashtag Heath for Impact. I already done it. Next thing, we back to the Wrestle House. We still continue with the story with Johnny E. Bravo and Rosemary and Lawrence D. So basically, it's still unclear what's going to happen. So there was a match that was set between Lawrence D. and Johnny E. Bravo. Lawrence won, but finally, Bravo has finally confessed his feelings towards Rosemary. Taya overheard this, and she thinks that Rosemary's been trying to take everything, but no. The only thing she wanted was Bravo. So here's the thing that's bothering me right now with this whole thing. I'm thinking, is this the sign for Taya Valkyrie that she could be leaving the the Impact Wrestling and go to another promotion? Because I'm not sure if WWE are interested in having Taya Valkyrie. Reason I say this, if you guys are well aware, her real life husband is John Hennigan, better known as John Morrison or Johnny Nitro or Johnny Mundo or Johnny Impact. That's her real life husband. But I'm not sure. I do know that Taya was in one of his at the Royal Rumble, just watching the stance, but I'm not sure yet. We'll find out more how this is going to play out, since Rosemary and Taya are going to face off at Wrestle House next week. Then we jump into our main event, which is the Knockouts Championship in a 30-minute Iron Man match. This is the first time we see something like this before. Normally, Iron Man matches take up to 60 minutes, which is an hour. But it was a brutal match. I wasn't sure exactly how it's been. I think there was like a lot of good dynamics that Deonna Purrazzo was throwing out. I feel like they're giving more of the standout to Deonna to become the Impact the Impact Women's Champion, or no, the Impact Knockouts Champion. But she did a good job being dominant in this, using whatever technical aspect she has done, and I'd say it was a pretty good job. So she won the Iron match with 2 pins, and Jordan only have 1. So basically, she is still the the reigning Impact Knockouts champion. So the real question is, who's next? So right now, let's end it here and move on to NXT. Okay, finally, we're gonna go with NXT. As you know, what happened. It started out with the recap of what happened in the NXT Takeover 30. As we know, we saw Karrion Kross becoming the new NXT champion. Io Shirai retained her NXT Women's Championship against Dakota Kai, and all this and that. But the event started with Karrion Kross coming out alongside his girlfriend, the the Angel of Doom, Scarlet. This became a similar situation as what happened with Finn Balor when he won the Universal Championship against Seth, becoming the first champion, Universal Champion. So what happened is during NXT Takeover 30, during his match, Karrion got hurt. Um, his shoulder was separated. Um, this has become a serious thing, and I don't know how if Karrion outside and backstage had a chat with Finn Balor, because this was sort of like a similar situation with Finn Balor when he won the Universal Championship in less than 24 hours. He had to relinquish it, but this time, instead of that amount of time, it took about, let's see, 4 days until Karrion Kross made a decision on national television that he is relinquishing his title due to his shoulder being separated. But for all you fans, just be aware this is not the end of the world if you're a Karrion Kross fan. I mean, I'm a fan. I love his work as that psychopathic killer that he's always posted out to be when he was in Independence, all this and that. But he will be back. Now, I want to skip a little bit ahead about this with the situation with the NXT Championship. Throughout most of there was a scene that they showed General Manager William Regal, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Big Al were discussing how they're going to proceed this now that Karrion Kross relinquished the NXT Championship due to the injury. So they were trying to figure out what way to crown a brand new champion. So later on tonight, William Regal has made. They say they made a decision, and so he revealed it. So since already I'm skipping ahead on that, I'm just gonna say just to throw it out. They decided to pick four former NXT champions to face off in what later becomes a four-way 60-minute Iron Man match. So basically, there'll be four competitors facing off in a 60-minute Iron on Super Tuesday. Keep in mind, I'm gonna reveal this now. Next coming week, there'll be no NXT on Wednesday, but it will be on a Tuesday. From what I'm hearing, it's because of the NHL, the National Hockey League game, may be broadcast on that very day or so. So basically, that's what's happening. So they chosen former champions Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole, and Finn Balor. Now, I can go either way with one of them, but if I have to choose maybe one or two, my money is either on Adam Cole or Finn Balor. One of those two. I don't know why, but we'll see how that is going to play out. Now, next thing we see is the first match of the night they have is for the NXT Tag Team Championship between Breezango versus Imperium, Eichner, and Barthel. So this one was a very good match. I have to say, Breezango really impressed me a lot. They haven't won a championship match. They've always been that team that likes to have a lot of fun. But ever since they've been attacked by the Legado del Fantasma weeks ago, because Santos has described them being disrespectful to their culture, I think their beating woke them up. If I was Imperium, I would take it out on Legado del Fantasma for creating a monster. You did not hear that from me. So it was a great match. I have to say, it was a great tag team match. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But the best part is Breezango won finally. I think this is one of those moments that we can say, wow, finally these guys did something great. And I know Breezango mentioned on an exclusive interview that it took him 5 years to get to where he is now. And we should be happy that he finally got this opportunity to become NXT Tag Team Champion along with Tyler Breeze. I hope Sean Spears watching this, standing behind Tyler Breeze, watching. So next thing we see is Damian Priest, who, in fact, he's still celebrating the fact that he won the North American Championship. But all of a sudden, here comes Timothy Thatcher. He looks at Priest that he's an insult to become champion. I mean, look, guys like Timothy Thatcher and guys like the Imperium, they both had the same bread. They came from the same cloth, their styles. They feel like they're the true wrestlers in every aspect. But Priest is not. So basically, Timothy Thatcher has volunteered himself to be the first challenger against Priest. But Priest, he feels that he's confident that he has nothing to worry about, that he will remain champion no matter what. But that's yet to be seen. I think that will take place next week. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll let you guys know by the following week. Now, next thing we see is Jake Atlas facing off against the return Tommaso Ciampa. Now, we haven't seen him since NXT In Your House when he lost against Karrion Kross. Now, we don't know what happened or what he has become, but it looks like he has turned heel. It's still unclear why he was attacking Jake Atlas even after the match when he won. So, is he becoming a different person? Or what's going on? So, there's still no clear why. He continued to beat down Jake Atlas, even though Jake Atlas knew what Tommaso Ciampa is made of. So, that's kind of crazy how it turned out. Then we have Candice LeRae saying that she wants Tegan Nox to open her eyes, that she doesn't need friends, that she needs to follow the Gargano way. But Tegan is not going to follow the Gargano way. She thinks that if she follows Gargano's way, she's going to win better matches. But Candice LeRae only won several, some matches, but not the bigger ones. Tegan may have been close of winning, been in very good matches. So we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. And then we have an interview with Bronson Reed, how his reaction towards Priest giving Timothy Thatcher a first crack of the North American Championship. Now, Bronson was alright with the idea, but he could have given him a title shot since he already beat him weeks ago before going to NXT Takeover 30. But since then, we just saw the return of Austin Theory. Now, we still don't know what happened to him when he disappeared. We do know he just transitioned to the main roster not too long ago down in WrestleMania. It was kind of odd. But he comes out, disrespects Bronson Reed, saying that he will become champion at the age of 55, and Bronson did not like that clearly, so he gave him a little slap on the face. So, you deserved it, Austin. You should have kept your mouth shut, but no. Then we have a match between Mia Yim. From what's going on, it was supposed to be Mia Yim versus Mercedes Martinez, but she was nowhere to be found. So here comes Robert Stone, and Aaliyah tried to get in her face, but all of a sudden, Robert Stone got run over by a tank. Yes, a tank. Shotzi Blackheart. That's the third time in Robert Stone's life that he got run over. So it turned out to be Shotzi Blackheart and Mia Yim. Now, this was a very interesting match. Now, I'm not sure if Mia Yim is somewhere in discussions with the bosses about maybe moving up to the main roster. But in my perspective, she hasn't won the NXT Women's Championship. I feel like they haven't accomplished that with her. But however, Shotzi Blackheart won. I'm not sure if now they're going to put much of the spotlight with her. I mean, I'm becoming a big fan of Shotzi Blackheart's character, how she goes out of her way with all this balls to the walls type of look. But yeah. So, it was a great match to watch. Next thing we see is Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Now, as you know, since NXT TakeOver, Dakota's not happy the fact that she lost. she said that she still deserves to become the NXT Women's Champion. But however, Raquel Gonzalez doesn't know why she got in his face, saying that she will hurt her. But they were scheduled to be in a match against them, Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. They believe they will not communicate because there is no secret that Rhea Ripley wants a shot at the title. It's not a secret at all if you've been following Rhea Ripley the entire time. So that's how it goes. Then, hold on. I already talked about this with the idea of the title. Then we have the Cruiserweight Championship match. This was a match that was already been set up in story-wise. Santos Escobar hasn't forgotten the one man who actually beat him, and that was Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was a pretty good match. I like the idea how it was because Santos wants to prove that he had it with these people insulting his culture with Lucha Libre, and he wants to set things right in his perspective. But however, I knew he had tricks up his sleeve, so he sent out his guinea pigs, Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild. But out of nowhere, here comes the newly crowned tag team champions, Breezango, making sure that the numbers have changed. So basically, Breezango took out Mendoza and Wild, while Swerve Scott was left only with Santos Escobar. But out of nowhere, he had a trick up his sleeve. He put on a mask and headbutted Swerve. But what no one noticed, I think he used a little metal something to knock him out. So basically, he could have won the match, but Santos was trying to ensure that he remains untouchable. But sooner or later, I have that feeling that he will lose the title to a guy who doesn't believe he's untouchable. So next match we have like wrestlers who proclaim that they will once again reclaim what belonged to them. Johnny Gargano believes that if he wins the NXT Championship, that finally NXT will be reinvented under his image, under his way, the Gargano way. Then Finn Balor, of course, we all know who he is, all this and that. And then Adam Cole, who is the longest reigning NXT champion. So there's that. There's still no word about Tommaso, what he had to say. Then we had a match between Kyle O'Reilly and Drake Maverick. As you know, a couple weeks ago, Drake Maverick and Killian Dane were in the match, but they were brutally attacked by Undisputed Era. So Drake Maverick posted out a couple of days ago that he's all about guts and brains. So he challenged one of the members of Undisputed Era. He faced Kyle O'Reilly. Drake Maverick, he really did a lot of his great work in this match because I feel like he is that one underdog wrestler that we like to watch. But sadly, he didn't win the match. There was no interference by Undisputed Era. But however, when the match was over, they decided to give a beatdown. But here comes Killian Dane, who still has a score to settle with Undisputed Era. But however, it didn't seem how we thought, where we thought he was helping Drake Maverick, but it didn't. He took him out too. So basically, there's no friends in the business. So that's how it goes. Then we have the main event between Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley facing off against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. But Rhea Ripley made it perfectly clear. She is not stupid. She knows she wants the title, but the thing is, nothing's going to stand in her way. So she knows that sooner or later she has to get her chance of the title. So basically, she's begging Raquel Gonzalez to get rid of her, but it's not going to be that simple or so. But the match was great. It did show Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley working together greatly. But however, the match would have gone their way if it wasn't for the interference of Mercedes Martinez. As you recall, Martinez was powerbombed outside of the ring a couple weeks ago, thanks to Rhea Ripley in the last week. So again, this time Mercedes got into her business, and that's how it ended. And Dakota Kai still believes that she has a chance to gain the NXT Women's Championship. But I don't know if that's going to be happening. But I do know many fans like you guys who probably wonder, can we see Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Gonzalez? So it's going to be an interesting thing. And we should see maybe Mercedes in the same predicament. I have a feeling there'll be Raquel and Mercedes, they want a piece of Rhea Ripley, but she'll face them both in a triple threat match. I don't know. That's my assumption right there. So that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys like to leave a comment down below, I can answer you guys any questions. Don't forget, tomorrow we will, or should I say, it's already today. It's already Thursday. We have AEW Dynamite. I hope you guys are watching. I'm certainly there will be a New Japan show, The Fighting Spirit Unleashed, on New Japan on NJPAW World on Live on Demand. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.